Hi everyone. I know that we are only left with a handful of days to CLAT, and I just hope that you're not grappled with fear. And even if you are, first of all, have a lot of patience and trust on yourself. And secondly, I'm here with the solution to most of your problems. Now, I think you all must be wondering that how can I score 20 plus when it comes to the English section. I hope if you incorporate these steps, it's surely going to help you score that 20 plus. So the first point that we are going to discuss here is get acquainted to jargons specific to a particular genre. What does that mean? Jargon basically means the technical language. There are certain words which a particular specific field always uses. For example, if I talk about the engineering field, they'll be using words such as transmitters or transistors. Now, if you do not know what is the meaning of those words, you will not be able to make sense of the passage. सिमिलरली ऐसे ही अगर हम फिलोसफी की बात करें तो फिलोसफी में ऐसी बहुत सारी थियोरीज हैं विच यू माइट नॉट नो मच अबाउट सो दिस इज द राइट टाइम टू एक्चुअली गेट acquainted to terminology which is based on a specific genre. Okay, now moving on to the second step. Second step is, I think this is one query which I have most often encountered, and मेरे ख्याल से तुम लोग भी इसी चीज में stuck होगे कि I always get stuck between two very close options. What do? I spend a lot of time. I have to revisit the passage again and again, and still I don't get the answer. I end up marking the wrong answer. इससे अच्छा कि आप इतना टाइम वेस्ट करो मेरे हिसाब से why don't you read the question all over again? The pathway to success generally is stuck in that question itself, but हमारे पास इतना टाइम ही नहीं है कि हम क्वेश्चन अच्छे से पढ़ लें और इसी की वजह से हम हमेशा दो ऑप्शंस में कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. So I would recommend you to, instead of going back to the passage or rereading those two options where you're stuck, please reread the question instead. Okay, there is one more tip here, and that is I generally leave such questions for the very end. मैं ऐसे questions पे तभी बहुत सारा time नहीं waste करती because I know that I'm going to struggle throughout the paper if I spend a lot of time on just one question. So please do not do that. पहले पूरा English section solve किया और फिर ऐसे questions पे आए जहाँ पे हम दो options में उलझे हुए हैं. Okay, moving on to the third step. The third step is, I cannot stress enough, revise what is static. देखो इंग्लिश में कुछ ही चीजें हैं जो static है. For example, tones, figures of speech, idioms, foreign phrases, grammar topics. ये सारे जो static topics है, at least ये अच्छे से पढ़ लो so that you are not shaken with what is unknown. सो ऐसा रहेगा कि अगर एक पेपर में 24 क्वेश्चंस है उसमें से कम 6 से 7 क्वेश्चंस स्टैटिक टॉपिक्स पे आते हैं. So that will give you a lot of confidence and also boost your morale overall. So please revise the static topics. Please be very religious about it. Do not take it lightly. Moving on to the fourth point. The fourth point is, please dedicate the last 10 days to specific question stems. For example, जो लास्ट 10 days है, सपोज 10, आप बोल सकते हो डे 10 पे मैंने सिर्फ वही क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए जो मेन आइडिया बेस्ड थे. Day 9 can be dedicated to title based questions. Day 8 can be dedicated to conclusion questions. Day 7 can be dedicated to weaken, strengthen the arguments questions. ये मेरे ख्याल से अगर आपने, if you kind of practice a good 15 to 20 questions on a specific day, you will not be able to, I would say, face any difficulties on the day of the exam क्योंकि you will be so prepared with the right approach. ठीक है? So dedicate the last 10 days on specific question stems. Moving on to the fifth one. Yes, many people have asked me, मैम अभी भी डाइवर्स रीडिंग करनी है क्या? यार बिल्कुल करनी है. डाइवर्स रीडिंग तो तुम एग्जाम देने से आधे घंटे पहले भी करके जाओगे तो इट्स गोइंग टू एक्चुअली बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. डू नॉट स्टॉप डाइवर्स रीडिंग एट ऑल. ऐसी मैंने बहुत सारे वेबसाइट्स के बारे में बात की है इन वन ऑफ द वीडियोस, तो यू कैन जस्ट गो बैक ऑन आवर लीगल एड चैनल एंड वॉच दैट वीडियो. आई मस्ट हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट साइंटिफिक अमेरिकन, आई मस्ट हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट कैटapult, द वॉलरस. इन सारी वेबसाइट्स को अभी एक्सप्लोर करने का समय है. डू नॉट स्टॉप डाइवर्स रीडिंग, आई एम टेलिंग यू. मूविंग ऑन टू द पॉइंट 6. It's finally time to pick older mocks. It's finally time to pick the sample papers or the previous year question papers. ऐसे बहुत सारे passages होते हैं जो हम mocks में solve नहीं कर पाते हैं. ये वही वक्त है कि उन्हीं passages पे थोड़ा time spend करके उन्हें समझ के वो particular question solve किए जाए. Because what would happen? Just imagine if the same passage comes in the CLAT examination. You will actually go on a guilt trip. You will regret that moment all your life, right? So it's finally time to go back to older mocks, to go, going back to your roots, going back to the sample papers, going back to the material which is already available. उसमें जो भी difficulties हैं वो अभी solve करने का वक्त है, so that those difficulties do not take a monstrous form in the examination. Okay, moving on to the seventh point. ये वही वक्त है जब आप कंसोर्शियम की फेवरेट वेबसाइट्स एक्सप्लोर करें. And by consortium's favorite websites, I'm actually talking about websites such as The Guardian, The Catapult, Scientific American, The New Yorker. ये सारी वही वेबसाइट्स हैं जहाँ से जनरली पैसेजेस पूछे जाते हैं. Even The Hindu. Okay? So please go explore these websites, read more and more articles from these websites, and I'm telling you, it's definitely going to help. Moving on to the next one. Dekho, vocab can never be put on the back burner. Vocabulary is a very important part of English section, and the more you ignore it, the more you are going to be helpless on the day of the exam. So हर दिन अगर हम एक भी प्रैक्टिस वर्कशीट सॉल्व कर ले या एक भी ऐसा क्रॉसवर्ड पजल सॉल्व कर ले जिसमें वोकैबुलरी हो और मे बी वॉच वोकैबुलरी शॉर्ट्स सो दैट one way or the other, you're somehow connected to learning new words, it's definitely going to help you on the day of the examination. So, बहुत ही अब मैं ये बोल सकती हूँ कि बहुत ही indirect तरीके से भी अगर हम हर दिन थोड़ी बहुत भी vocabulary practice कर ले, on the final day, it's all going to count. Trust me. Moving on to the ninth point. Please, and this is a request, do not make last minute strategy changes. अचानक से do not change the sequence of how you solve a mock, or do not change the sequence of the questions or anything as a matter of fact, because it's going to be a lot of trouble because you are not prepared for it, to be honest. इतने टाइम से जो आपने एक स्ट्रैटेजी खुद के लिए बनाई हुई है, इट्स अ ट्रस्ट वर्दी स्ट्रैटेजी. ट्रस्ट ऑन इट, ट्रस्ट ऑन द प्रोसेस. यू आर गोइंग टू डू एब्सोल्युटली फाइन ऑन द डे ऑफ द एग्जाम इफ यू गेट, if you're basically okay with following the same strategy. But ये last minute जो आपके changes होते हैं, it also results in last minute slip ups. So please do not be a part of it. जो आपने एक strategy बनाई है, follow it wholeheartedly. That's it. And the last point. Okay, so this is a general tip, but this is the most important tip. Please focus on your well being. Eat well, sleep well, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, and trust on your instincts. You have worked hard enough. You have been working so hard all year round. You got this, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you so much, everyone. And please incorporate these steps. And all the very best for the examination. My best wishes are always with you. And I know that you're all going to come out with flying colors. Thank you so much. Bye bye.